I hope your new year is starting off good. I know mine has started off fantastic. One of the things that many people do at the beginning of the year is fasting. Our church here, we do a 21 day of prayer and fasting where we'll do it corporately as a church. And the first time I'd ever really done that was when we came here to Cape First. And so the last 4 years, I've had the opportunity to start putting fasting into my spiritual routines. It's not just something I do at the first of the year. I do it all throughout the years at multiple different times. And so I just wanted to give you some practical thoughts to help you if you're going into a fast either now or maybe sometime later on in the year. These really aren't, I'm not really covering why we fast. There's a lot of stuff you can find about that. I'm not going to give you like a ton of scripture about why you should. I'm more or less just going to give you some thoughts to maybe hopefully help you through your fast. So here's some thoughts. The first one is this. You're going on a fast, not a hunger strike. It's not a hunger strike. Sometimes people will say, I'm going to fast so that I get an answer from God. And while, yes, we do fast to get answers from God, we see that all throughout scriptures, we fast for intimacy with God. We fast so that we can grow closer to Him. We fast so that we're taking ourselves away from food, away from worldly desires, and we're able to connect with God. And sometimes you will get an answer in your fast, and sometimes you won't get an answer in your fast. But the answer shouldn't dictate whether or not it was a good fast or not. What it should dictate is whether or not you drew closer to God. That's the whole point of this, is that we're getting closer to God. And as we get closer to God, we can hear His voice clear. We can see His direction a little clearer. And so when you're going into this, don't go into it like, I have to have an answer at the end of 21 days. Go into it with questions, but saying, God, whether you choose to answer these in these 21 days or not, I'm going to grow closer to you. All right, second thought is this. It's not a diet. It's praying. So it's not just about missing meals. It's not just about like I didn't eat all day so I fasted. That's not the point of fasting. The point of fasting is that you're taking food out of your diet and putting prayer into your diet. So what your point is that if it's like I'm not eating lunch today, then you need to find some time during lunch to withdraw, to read the Word, to pray, listen to worship music. You're replacing one with the other. You're not just giving up food. That's not fasting. That's a diet. You're not giving up food. You're giving up food for Jesus. And that may sound weird, but that's really what the point of it is. For me, one of the indicators I use to pray, this may sound totally crazy and silly, because it is a little bit, but when my stomach talks to me, because my stomach gets a little rumbly and the tumbly when it's hungry, when I feel that rumbling, I turn that into saying, okay, it's now time for me to pray. And I use that as an indicator of prayer. If I feel hungry, instead of focusing on I can't eat, what I'm not eating, I take those moments to take those fasting pains, those hunger pains, and turn them into motivation to pray, motivation to get my mind on something else. So remember, it's not a diet, it's about praying. The third thing is this, don't be dogmatic. If you mess up, if you go to a birthday party and you have a piece of cake, if something happens, don't throw everything away because of one mistake. Don't say, oh, I blew the whole fast, I've got to start over. Start over, but just forget what happened and move on. I've seen so many people that have one moment of weakness or one moment they're tired and they eat something because they can't sleep. They just do something silly, just one silly moment, and that one moment throws their whole entire fast off, and they stop their whole fast because of one moment. Don't let that happen. Just say, okay, I messed up, I'm moving on. Now, on a practical side, if you've gone more than about 3 or 4 days, if you put food in your stomach, you're going to have to go through 3 or 4 days again of hunger. The first 3 or 4 days can be a little rough. You can get some headaches, drink a lot of water, a lot of juices. But once you get past that, it starts to get easier. The problem so many times with people is that at like that breaking point of 2 or 3 days, they eat something because they're so hungry, and then they have to go through that breaking point again. And so they end up going through like 4 or 5 3-day fasts, and it's hard because they're not getting through that point of letting their body kind of break through the barrier. So if you do mess up, don't go crazy. Just start over and begin working through it. And know that it's going to take a little bit of time, whether you're doing, one day, maybe you're fasting meats or chocolate or caffeine, whatever it is. Make sure that it means something to you, that it's going to be a little difficult, and then go for it. And if you mess up, just start over and keep going. And then here's my last little thing, is fasting time is what I call EGR time. EGR. Extra grace required. And here's why I say that. When you're hungry, you can get a little irritable as individuals. You're going to be a little bit more tired. You're going to be a little colder because you don't have as much stuff in your system. It's January, so your body's going to be a little colder, and you can get irritated very easily. I get irritated very easily, especially the first 3, 4, 5 days. My wife knows for me, she needs to give me a little more grace because I'm a little edgy. But I know for everyone else around me, I need to give them grace because they're probably not doing anything, different than normal. But I'm different because I'm going through some things, so I need to give everybody around me grace. So when you're in a time of fasting, give those people around you a little bit more grace. If the people you're around are fasting, give them a little bit more grace. Because when we're hungry, when we're tired, if we're cold, all those things are going on. And not only that, but there's a spiritual battle that's going on too, because you're trying to draw closer to God. So in that moment, Satan's going to try to do everything he can to get you at war with your wife, at war with your kids, at war with the people at work. He's going to try everything he can to disrupt life so that you want to stop and just go eat a hamburger and say, forget this, I'm getting the extra value meal. Don't let that happen. Have a little bit more grace for yourself. Have a little bit more grace for the people around you in your home. Have a little bit more grace for the people you work with. Because listen, when you come through this fasting, I promise, if you put your whole heart into it, you're going to meet with God. You're going to be a different person. Things are going to be different. And then the last thing is this. Don't let this just be a one-time beginning of the year thing. Let this be something that becomes a part of your daily disciplines. Either you fast a meal a week, or maybe the first 3 days of the month, or you take some time and put this in, not just prayer and fasting, reading the Word. Make all that a part of your devotions because it'll really take your spiritual walk to another level. So, have fun. I really encourage you to fast if you've never done it before, to get closer to God. Really let God take you and form you during that time. So, be good, have fun fasting, and we'll see you next week.